Moving on to dominant, same thing, coming down from the root, down here, I have my third and my flat seventh. I call those the guide tones. Well, actually, I don't call them that. Everyone calls them guide tones, okay? Guide tones are the most important parts of the chord, all right? So usually the third and the seventh. It's the notes that guide you to the next chord, all right? All right? It's going to help guide the harmony as well. So here's C7. I'm going to throw my root down there so you can visualize it, okay? So here's root 3, flat 7th, 9, 5, root again. Okay, so this is built down from the root, built down from the C. Now building down from the ninth. Definitely want to learn these. Oh my goodness. You'll end up using these so much when you're playing. Right? Now, built down from the fifth. So notice that there's 3 places to build down from. Building down from the root, building down from the ninth, building down from the fifth. Okay? Now, if you prefer to think bottom up, well, building up from the ninth, building up from the third, building up from the 13. Personally, I find that a little bit easier for myself, but it's personal preference. If you like thinking top down or bottom up, it's up to you. Now, take a look at the dominant seventh altered. These fourth voicings are really get you that hip altered jazz sound. I'm going to hit my C down here. I'm going to grab my guide tones up here, and then listen to that chord. You know, that's a hip sound right there. I can hit. Now, if I just play my C down here, I get that all together. Let's analyze it. Well, once again, third and seventh down here. That's the third and the seventh of my dominant seventh chord. In the right hand, I'm building up in fourths from the sharp 9. Okay? Now, I think of it as sharp 9 rather than flat 3 because, well, it's a dominant seventh chord. I'm not going to think flat 3 because flat 3 would be minor, even though flat 3 and sharp 9 are exactly the same note. Okay? So I think sharp 9 because that's the tension. Sharp 9, flat 13, flat 9. And notice what I wrote for a chord symbol is just C7 alt. Okay, now the alt means altered. A lot of times when you have like 3 different alterations, you're not going to put in sharp 9, flat 13, flat 9. It's just going to be way too much to write in there. So you'll see something like C7 alt. Right? Now the next one is this one. This is another cool sound. Listen to that one. So I'll hit my root 5 down here. And up here I have 7 and 3. I just inverted the guide tone. Okay, that's all I did. Invert the guide tone. So 7 and 3. In the right hand, I'm building up from my flat 13. I have flat 13, flat 9, sharp 11. So let's go through the 5 different places where you can build fourth voicings. I'm going to do the bottom up because I prefer that method. If you want to think top down, then just take a look at what the top note is, and you'll be able to realize that. Okay, so building up from the ninth, building up from the third, building up from the 13. These are your basic dominant seventh with 13s, 9s, you know, basic chord tensions in it. If you want a little bit more grit, build up from the sharp 9, build up from the flat 13. What's nice about these is see how the fourth right here, you could just move right on up. Okay? Now, you might think, well, can you do these others? Not really, because see how they start to conflict? Okay? So those are really the ones that you can get away with easily without having to change any other notes. Now, let's move on to minors. Once again, here's my root. Here's 3 and 7 down here in the left hand. Okay, my guide tones. Right hand, building up on the ninth. Beautiful minor chord voicing. Okay, right there. That's measure 16. Okay. Now, let me show you another one that I really like. And this one is, I use this chord voicing all of the time for a minor sounding chord. this voicing. Now let's talk about what it is. You can think of it a couple of different ways. How I normally think about it quickly is root 4 in the left hand, okay, and then building a major triad off of the flat 3, okay? So it's this major triad, but the 5th is down here, so it's second inversion major triad. You can also look at it as 4th, 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 3rd. Or if you prefer to look at it top down, go down to major 3rd, right? Okay, this interval is a major 3rd, then go down a 4th, a 4th, and a 4th. Moving my fingers so you can see what I'm playing. This is a C, F, B flat, E flat, G. This is the root, the 11th, the flat 7th, the flat 3rd, and the 5th. Now, can you move that around? Move that around? Sure, you can have fun and try doing some other alterations to it. Can you add the 9 in there? Yeah, you can do that. Okay? But what's nice about these 4th voicings is that they give you this wonderful open sound. And with that open sound, it allows you to do a lot more in your improvisation. Okay? Allows you to do stuff in your improvisation. A lot of different things, because it's not going to conflict so much, because you're not really defining that harmony really strong by having all those thirds in there. Okay, so you have two types. Well, the traditional way of making chords is based on thirds. This is what we call tertial harmony. All right, so it's based on thirds. When we start to make these voicings based on fourths, well, it's called quartal harmony. Right, and that's where we're using more fourths. You also have quintal harmony as well, where you're doing more like fifths, right? This real big open sound, or it would be C major 7, and it's all based on fifths. Fifth, 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 fifth. Okay. So anyway, back to this quartal harmony, this 4th harmony, measure 17, right, for C minor 7. Another version of C minor. We have 7 and 3 here in the left hand, and we're building fourths up on the 11th. So build on the 11th, going up in fourths. So you can build fourths on the 9th. You could build fourths on the 11th. Okay. Another thing you could do is build fourths on the 5th. That's measure 19. And then finally, you could build fourths on the 6th as well. All right. And that gives you a minor 6 sound. That's a real nice sounding chord right there as well. Okay. Now, you might wonder, can you build it on the root because it's, you know, root 11, flat 7? Sure, you can. The reason I normally don't do that is because the root just doesn't give you enough bite, you know, not enough bang for your buck there. So I'd rather go 9, 11, or 5. Okay, now, something that you could do with the left hand is when you see minor, like say you see a C minor chord. We talk about what I'm doing here. In the left hand, I'm just hitting root 5, right? Okay, to establish what the root motion here is. So root 5. And then I'm hitting my fourths built on the 9th, the 11, or on 5. Okay? So it gives me that minor sound, because remember, once again, here in these minor voicings, I'm building it on the 9, on the 11, or on the 5, right? So you see how I'm able to get that left-hand sound without having to do this. Or this. That real tertial, like thirds. Here I can use fourths instead. Now, can I do that on major? Can I do that on dominant? Absolutely. Listen to the dominant one. I'm going to use my altered scale here for the dominant. Okay, so I talk about that altered scale in the E lessons. Let's see here. Now, what I can also do is I can start to actually even throw in on the dominant one some of these fourths that I normally wouldn't use for chord voicings, because it adds that tension and then I resolve it. So like, okay, so same thing for major. So this is how I can use these fourth voicings in my left hand. Lot of stuff here, lot of stuff, okay? Make sure you do this in all 12 keys. This is going to revolutionize how you start to think about chord voicings, okay? When I started learning this and applying these concepts to standards, wow, my playing started to get much bigger and broader, okay? So far we've gone through all of the tertial sounding, major, minor, dominant seventh chords, talked about that sus sound, and now we get into this magic fourth voicing chords, okay? These quartal chords. So now the next thing we're going to move on to is some of the examples using some of these magic fourth chords doing a 2-5-1. Okay, so stay tuned.